Good afternoon. I'd like to call to order the Public Works Finance and Safety Committee meeting for the City of Watertown on Monday, September 16, 2019. The first item on the agenda is approval of the consent agenda. I have a motion by Holleen. Second by Lallam. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed signify by saying nay. Motion carries. Second item is public input. Is there anyone here to speak in the open? See none, we'll move on. Item 3 is approval of the agenda. I have a motion by Ville Hauer. Second by Rademski. Any discussion? See none, I'll look for action. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed signify by saying nay. Motion carries. Item 4 is authorization to purchase one new tandem axle dump truck with sander and plow from Sanitation Products via a Sourcewell bid. And a favorable motion would recommend this to the council.
So moved.
I have a motion by Wyatt and a second by Holleen. And I would like, Heath, you want to open this up?
Yes. Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Council. This item comes before you tonight from the Street Division of Public Works, and they're looking to purchase, excuse me, a budgeted new dump truck and snowplow setup for their functions that they perform throughout the year, not only in the winter months, but the summer months as well, as far as the dump truck usage is concerned. What the street department has done through Superintendent Bainan, who's also here this evening, can help answer any specific questions on this. But what they've done is they've looked towards Sourcewell, who used to be known as the National Joint Powers Alliance, that puts out competitive bids for a multitude of government agency things, whether it be equipment or primarily equipment is a big one that gets utilized, and one that we've actually exercised the use of in the recent past with our landfill compactor, purchasing it directly through Sourcewell. That was a competitive bid process that they went through on their members' behalf. The City of Watertown is a member of the Sourcewell group and are able to purchase off of their competitive bids. And this particular unit that Rob has researched and looked at the specifications on meets exactly what they want for the street department and is within the budget amount. The budget amount for this year is $250,000. You'll note the price of this purchase would amount to $248,511. And again, Superintendent Bainan is here, and we can handle any questions you might have.
Thank you. Council, any questions? Councilman Roby?
Two questions on Sourcewell. Do we pay a fee or a membership charge of any of that? And secondly, have we used them before? 'Cause I don't recall hearing that name before. And are their bids typically better than what we could do on our own?
Yeah, as far as a fee, I believe, and Kristen might be able to answer this, but I think it is free for the city to be part of Sourcewell. I know we've been part of Sourcewell. The very first purchase, the municipal utilities did a purchase about 3, maybe 4 years ago when they were in JPA. They did purchase a skid steer off of it. And, you know, what I've gotten out of vendors, the discussion about Sourcewell is you can go out to bid on equipment, and a lot of times Sourcewell is better pricing. You get better pricing occasionally. Now, the only way to know for sure is if you would go out to bid and then come back and find that your Sourcewell price is better. Generally, the vendors, from what I understand, a lot of them, like Hankey in this case, will give up like a 10% across the board discount on their equipment. That's bolted onto a chassis in this case. So,
If I could add to that, Rob.
Yeah.
But one of the reasons for the generally finding better value in these bids is in part due to the 50,000 members of Sourcewell. This Sourcewell represents roughly 50,000 government, educational, and nonprofit organizations. So you kind of have that economy of scale, that buying power with the numbers, where most of the bidders for these Sourcewell bids will come in a little better than what an individual city might go out and be able to procure on their own.
Good question and good answer. Councilman Y?
Rob, will this replace? Is it a new addition? What's your status with that?
This is an addition. We only currently have one tandem axle truck, and that is not rigged up with a plow. It does have a plow, but it doesn't have a sander or any of the other equipment that we need to go with it. So, yeah.
What is the life expectancy on something like that?
You know, the equipment that we have, we've been getting 15 to 20 years out of trucks. We'd like to get on a cycle of 10 years. A lot of our trucks they get a lot of, because of the town miles, they do wear out. It's not like getting 250,000 miles on the highway. It's stop and go being in the city. So we are definitely in need of another tandem axle truck. And with us changing our operation to a lot of plowing with motor graders and using snow gates, we're seeing more of a need for different type of equipment. We're getting away from using single axle trucks for plowing. We still sand with those, but this truck will be outfitted with an underbelly plow and a wing. So areas like Highway 20 and the South Bypass, part of the lake, some of that we'll be able to do as a one-man operation. Now, currently we have a contractor that's hired to do the lake, but we do go out there quite often and do plowing after he's done his plowing. If the wind's blowing, we'll go back and we'll knock drifts and that type of thing. So this also does have a brine system, so we can put brine down at the same time as we're putting sand down or straight rock salt with brine. So this truck is pretty decked out. If you see, it's similar to what you'll see with the DOT, which you'll see their tandem axle trucks on the interstate, or even the county has similar trucks to this, but it's going to be quite well lit on the back too. So.
Did you piece this together from?
No, it's actually Hankey offers a package truck, and this is basically what it is. And it's based off of, from what I understand, it's based off of a lot of communities that have request this type of equipment. So they've put together a package that has pretty much everything you would want. The only thing this truck didn't have, which Sanitation Products is adding in there, was the underbelly plow. It's like an ice scraper. You know, the only way you get that down pressure is with a motor grader. It will have the underbelly plus the front plow and the wing. It'll have a sander box and the brine system. It'll be pretty decked out. It has everything you can imagine for plowing. So I really think when we're sending one person out to check the lake out and do the South Bypass and stuff, with the wing it's going to help a lot. And the underbelly, he'll be able to scrape ice down.
Good.
Adam?
Councilman Lala?
Do you currently have one of these, Rob?
The tandem axle truck, but not with the underbelly or the wing,
those-
sander.
Yeah,
the
those
brine
underbody plows are a little bit trickier.
Yeah,
So you
that's
gotta
what I've
be
heard.
careful with what you're hitting and things like that. And if you got a raised spot, it'll do more damage. So make sure that you
Right.
get some training on that. Is this going to be a slide-in style sander?
It will be. Yep,
So
it'll
they
be
can use it in the
removable,
summer?
and we'll take it out at the end of the season and use the truck for all the hauling we need to do in the summer, which will be really nice because with our tandem axle truck, that gets used the most year round, and with only having one, there's times when we're wishing we had more, because right now you have to run with the single axle trucks. You have to make 2 to 1,
Right.
two round trips to one of a tandem.
Are you envisioning more of these going forward and going away from the single axles?
I would envision not a lot of tandem trucks, but I could see 4 in our, the way we're set up right now and the size of our community. I would see 4 in the future. Our current tandem axle truck is an 09. It's in good shape. It's in good condition. The only thing we continue to go through is radiators. It's about $3,200 a radiator. And since I've been here, we've went through 3.
How many single axles do we have?
Let's see, 13 trucks total. Yeah, we do have 12 single axle trucks if you include our contractor truck that we pull the hot box with.
So you're looking 4 of these and then dropping down to 8 or 9 of the other ones?
Yep, it would probably be a decent number. It'd probably be more than we would need, to be honest. You know, in the summertime, we do have 4 of them going on a daily basis with the 2-patch crews. You know, because we have a truck that'll pull the skid steer trailer and where they put the material in. Then we have a separate truck that brings, you know, if we're doing a large amount, brings the hot mix, or we are pulling the hot box.
And then we utilize those during citywide cleanup as well, right?
Yep. We use all the trucks during citywide cleanup and during milling, when we do our mill operation. If we're doing any other big projects, you know, like we've been doing the rock chip cleanup, generally we'll have, you know, we'll have our tandem go, but we'll also have 1 or 2 single axle trucks. So, and we do, like the airport recently needed a truck. We let them use one of our single axle trucks for quite a while. Wastewater uses them too. They came and got one a couple weeks ago. Had it for a couple days. So we do share those trucks too. So
What size plow is going to be on this?
this should have I think it's 12-foot front plow. The underbelly will be a 10-foot, and the wing, I think when it's laid out, it's actually 7 foot of ground that it covers. I think it's a 10-foot wing, but it covers 7 foot when it's down. Yeah, 10-foot underbelly, 10-foot wing, 12-foot on the front.
And how does that compare to a single axle?
We do run 12 foot
So
foot
same
on the
size.
front. Yeah, same size.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
All right, any other? Councilman Albertson?
You're going to add a truck. Do you have a person? I find out tonight you got to not only be a person, but a trained person to operate this new truck then, or?
This truck this truck, we don't use all of our equipment at the same time. So there will be, it's going to be shifting one person into this truck basically for the winter. I see this truck moving quite a bit. This is going to be our go-to rig. For especially sanding like the lake and plowing the lake, plowing drifts. It's usually to do the lake, it's usually with a single axle truck, it's 2 trips. You run out of sand, you come back to the shop, you fill up again, you run, finish up the lake. With this truck, you'll be able to do it in one shot and get just about all of it. So,
Excellent.
yeah,
That'll be really good.
it'll be a little bit more efficient. It saves time because it's, you know, if the guys are out at the lake, they run back to the shop, fill back up with sand and salt mix. You know, what's that, a 25-minute round trip there, and you go back in and do it again, and you know it'll save close to an hour, I would guess, total, you know, in a day. So
Yeah, minutes count. Mm-hmm. All right, other questions? All right, thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed signify by saying nay. Motion carries. Don't leave, Rob. Councilman Ville Hauer has a couple questions for you.
Rob, I see on the consent agenda for tonight's meeting, there's quotes for rental amounts from contractors, not questions on the dollar amounts. How are we sitting as far as having a good supply of contractors this year?
actually, this year is quite a bit better than I expected by far. I do have a contractor that we were only able to use for the event center last year that talked to me a few weeks ago, and he's going to be available to do extra blading and work for us this year, which he's really reliable and does a good job. So I'm excited to have him as well. But something out of the ordinary, I had somebody that quoted a Snowgate machine for this year. So we'd be able to add a contractor that has a Snowgate, which is, we have nobody else that has done that in the past.
And also, speaking of snow gates, have you looked ahead as far as after all the, discussion and downright controversy at times with snow gates last winter, any thoughts or changes, or what's your plans coming up this next winter, if I might ask? Hopefully it's a few months out.
I was going to have that meeting last Friday, but I canceled it because I wasn't prepared with all my information with the mayor and Heath to discuss the snow gates, the snow routes, various snow operations. So we haven't gotten there yet, but the contractor is available with a snow gate if we would want to hire him for that. Otherwise, the blade is available anyway. He gave us prices for with and without the snow gate. And we do have a lot more trucks this year that have quoted too. So it's really a good year. It isn't what I expected.
Councilman Y?
Rob, off of that, we've talked about city and then contractors, but what about like part-time people? I know last year that was a big problem.
Right.
You just couldn't fill those positions.
The hardest part about getting part-timers to come in is it's a lot of what we do is going to be start at 4 a.m. for hauling snow. And what we pay is another thing. Getting out of bed for early mornings to drive truck for a long day. There's not a lot of people that show a lot of interest. We do have some guys right now that are on staff. We have 4 seasonal workers that 2 of them were able to help pretty much the whole winter, and then partway through the winter we did hire another one on, and they were great help for hauling snow. But with the restrictions that we have on the amount of time that we can use those guys, we might not be able to use those guys this winter. So because we've had them busy a lot this summer with mowing. With all the rain and stuff, the grass won't quit growing. So we might be hiring more contractors this winter.
Will you, if you have to, look for more part-time people?
We certainly could put that out there. I would, I'd be. The other thing too is maybe getting some of our internal people to come from other departments. We've discussed that. I just don't know where that stands. At this point. If you have a CDL, we'll even take you if you have a Class B.
No, just motorcycle.
It does appeal to some people very much.
Yeah.
Being able to do that. And I have had several city employees who do not work in the street department tell me they would love to be able to transfer over and help with that as needed. So we'll maybe put that to use this year.
Is that something that we can start working on now so that when the snow does come, we've got a list and we're ready? And
yeah, and that's, if we can work that out, and I don't know, to be honest, that question, I wasn't really ready for that, but
sorry.
Well, no, that's a good point. We definitely need to discuss this and get our ducks in a row for this winter. I just don't know how that works with the union and the wall we might run into with that. So, but there is city staff that has expressed interest in driving some of those trucks for us. If we can get people in snow hauling trucks or even sanders, that definitely would help. I'd like to keep, there's other departments that do have some experienced people running loaders and other types of things. We can use those guys. I'd be glad to use them. It's, if I'm sure if it's outside their regular shift, some of those guys have expressed interest in helping us. So
There might be somewhere we have to look at offering to train people to get a CDL as well. I know there are people that'll come in and teach you how to go through a truck and things of that nature. So
right, and as far as our department, the only reason we require a Class A for doing snow, they would not need a Class A. But for the only reason we require that is when they have even a single axle truck and they're pulling a skid steer on a trailer, then a Class A is required. But for snow operations, a Class A would not be required.
Class B would be
Yep,
fine.
that would work. Yep.
So the other thing, one of the things I was gonna ask, and since you're not prepared, we might as well throw it out there.
Thanks.
Had a few people that had called me about our chip seal timing.
Yeah.
About, the week after school starts and things of that. Maybe we can work on getting that a couple weeks beforehand.
Yeah, it was supposed to be completed by the 1st of September. So, and, as far as working around the school stuff, it seems like every year it's a battle to get that to work out, especially with chip sealing. And the reason why is because those guys, they move and they can get, half a mile done in 3 hours or less. It's not like paving or any other project. It rolls pretty fast. But they did, I know they were working around 13th Street when shouldn't have been going, so.
Yeah, it's
That
just
was a problem.
with the people driving around there, they don't always pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
when we have other issues that come up and stopping and all that good stuff, so
Yeah.
maybe we can push them a little harder to go, maybe in August.
Well, they're supposed to, yeah. I like it when the chip seal's done when it's warmer. It tends to work better. Yep.
On that note, if I may, Mayor,
Sure.
to Councilman Lallam's point, the contractor will be coming back, putting a fog seal over these chip seal areas, so the work isn't 100% complete yet. And there will be additional interruptions to traffic on all those streets that were recently chipped under this year's project, where a fog seal coat of oil will be put over those chips. It's a new chip seal, fog seal method that we're utilizing this year that we spoke about earlier in one of the council meetings. But that'll be coming forth here in the next week or so, potentially in the next few days. The contractor will be back on site, hitting those roadways again with a top coat of oil.
Yeah, it's just one of those things when school starts, it's hectic anyway, and to have an additional item on there that they gotta watch out for seems to cause.
Right. Yeah, the fog sealing, we're not going to allow that to happen in the school areas during school if they do it on a weekend or if they do it in the evening or early morning, for that matter. Fog seal generally takes 20 minutes to 3 hours to set up to where you can let traffic go on it. So it really depends on the temperature and the humidity.
So the warmer the better?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, when they put the chip seal down, that was the perfect time frame to be doing that type of work. It was 80 degrees. It was dry. It wasn't humid. So,
Did they find the 2 days it didn't rain?
yeah, the only 2 days.
Right.
Yeah. All right, good discussion. Anybody else?
Thanks, Rob.
All right. Is there any old business? Any new business? Councilman Ville Hauer?
I'll ask a question because I've had a couple of people inquire of me within the last few days because of the rain again. I'm not sure who to direct it to, so I'll look at around the room. Do we have any sandbags that are available? I've got a couple of people around the lake now. They're doing some sandbagging again. And where do we have any around that are filled, ready to go, or are we back to square one with that?
I think we disposed.
Back to square one,
Okay.
as far as I'm aware of. All of them, I think, are completely out of the
Emergency
yeah,
management.
and
stock.
the ones we had are gone as well.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other new business? We will be going into executive session pursuant to SDCL 1-25-2 in order to discuss and consult with legal counsel confidential financial information for economic development purposes. So I'll look for a motion to do that.
So moved.
Motion by Lallam and second by Ville Hauer. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed signify by saying nay. Motion carries.